clinically, somebody who would describe themselves a victim is somebody who doesn't feel like they have any power in what's happening, that things are happening to them. They have no control. They're hopeless. Um, if I was sitting in a session with somebody, I wouldn't label somebody a victim. I would let them know that what they were saying to me, they were describing themselves as a victim and in a victim mode, and why. Um, on the flip side is survivor. People call themselves, generally identify as a victim or a survivor. There's other terms. So thinking of yourself as a survivor, as somebody who's empowered and who can make change, they have this internal locus of control to be able to manage what's happening in their environment. I would say probably, I'd have to look at statistics, but I think generally people that come to therapy, seek out therapy or some support in some way, are people who start out at least probably feeling like they're in a victim mode. That's why they're there, because they don't feel like they want something to change. Sometimes they want to know how they can change something, but they want something to change. They want other people maybe to change. So yeah, I'd say most people probably just describe themselves as a victim that are coming in. Yeah, but the only way anything's going to change is if you try to change your mindset to being a survivor and being capable of movement forward.
I remember somebody did say that in the comments about I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. So yeah, you're right. I was reading that in the comments. Aaliyah, what do you think?
I think, yeah, I think it's a frame of mind is how you see your situation. It is easy to fall into like victim mode but I think it's something that like in each situation you have to change your mindset and see it in a whole different way. So I guess I don't know. When it comes to like I feel like I see my mom as she's always the victim, I guess, in a way, because of like, it just seems like she's always miserable and has something to complain about. So I try to pull out the positive things in what she's saying so that way I don't fall into that trap. So I think when you're having a conversation, it's really easy to fall into like somebody who has a negative mindset to fall into the negativity. And so for me, it's just really reframing and catching yourself and realizing when it's happening.
You bring up a very good point, because there's victim and survivor, if we're going to talk about those two, but you don't just stay in victim or you don't just stay in survivor. You can go back and forth between the two. And surrounding yourself with people, like you say, trying to pull out the positive things so that you can stay positive, and is real important. And I noticed when all of this estrangement first started happening to me, I, of course, was in the it's only me, what's happened, searching for answers. And I was in groups on Facebook that were validating for me in the sense that I wasn't alone. But then as I read comments, the only thing that was happening in these groups that I was in, it was also negative, and it was just negative. People telling the same stories over and over, and there was no change, no movement. So I got out of all of them, because I don't want to be in that victim mode. It doesn't feel good. It's not good for your body. It's not good for your health. It's not good for your mental health. Spiritually, it's not good. So it's real important to seek out people that are more positive and moving forward.
Yeah, I was fully aware that because I have been, on a spiritual journey and doing a teaching that I now do a version of still for 30 years. I was very aware that when my estrangement happened, I was being a victim, like consciously aware of it. And now my definition of that is, and I was blasted on by my lovely YouTube fans that I have no clue what it means to be a victim. But here's my definition. We've all been victims of something. You can be a victim of child abuse, domestic violence. You can be a victim of a car accident, somebody with no insurance. You can be a victim of bad genetic disposition, and have diabetes or cancer running in your family. Those things you can be a victim of 100%. Nobody's denying that. But what you do with it then is victim consciousness or not. And that's what you guys were both talking about, is having the awareness that you don't want to feel that way. And when I first became estranged, I was also in those groups. I mean, that's where I met, you, Dr. Ruth, and Cheryl. And I tried to seek out therapy, even knowing that it was my work that I was avoiding. I knew it, but I just wanted somebody else to take the pain away. I also just wanted my daughter to come back so I didn't have to feel that pain anymore and acknowledge what was really going on. And of course, I think that was also contributing to why I was estranged from her for so many years. I mean, now it's 4 years and we've reunited. But I also think that I prolonged that because I was waiting for something outside of me to change. And yeah, Serena said, somebody has no agency. Absolutely. And then I think it's you, Lisa, that says, I agree. Most of the estrangement groups are very negative. Yeah, I just went on one today that I'm part of to post the roundtable happening, and just read a few of the comments, and just not a lot has changed there. I'm still seeing a lot of the same names, some familiar faces, and, same stories. Yet not a lot has changed.
I think it's really hard for people too to look at why they're not changing. But I like to try to help people figure out what is this serving? What purpose is it serving for you to be in this victim mode? It's hard for people to look at.
It does feel like somebody else is at fault within this situation. It does feel like, our kids are at fault. They're doing this estrangement thing, or a child is complaining about being abused as a child. So it does feel like to them that is real and that is their world. And again, we're not denying any of it, but we're just saying, you have to make a choice to live in the present moment or continue to just lament in the past. Aaliyah, do you, and I want to go into AI in a minute because I was also just watching a couple other videos. Do you feel like the people that the younger generation, do you feel like they're more victim consciousness? I mean, like you mentioned your mom, you always kind of talk to her, and I feel that same way about my mom. She leans into the negative. But do you feel like your generation is maybe more negative than they should be?
I honestly, I feel like it's the older generation. I don't feel like it's my generation, but it just I think it depends on the situation, but I don't feel like I know everybody like with me and my sisters. That's what I spend a lot of time with family more than friends. And we seem to just have developed a positive perspective on life rather than a negative. But
I'm curious, Aaliyah, do you ever hear Lisa and I say anything that strikes a chord in you about victim mode? Because maybe I'm not conscious of, I would like to know. I'm just inviting you to always tell me that sounds like a victim, because I don't feel like I am and I don't want to be. But I think a lot of times we present in a way we're just not aware of. So yeah, I'm inviting you to tell me.
Yeah, no, I think we have. I think we've worked through it, especially on other roundtables, right? We've worked through some of the things that have struck a chord between like Jillian and I, and between Jillian and Cheryl. I know there's been some things that we've pointed out that we've kind of just like talked through.
Okay.
So, but yeah, not off the top of my head, I can't think of anything.
Whatever comes up, just say so.
Okay.